If you feel like you're constantly struggling for time, energy, and focus, a bit like you're treading water, then there are 4 absolute myths, maybe even lies, that the internet convinces driven people are true and beneficial. In this video, I'm going to show you all 4, how they're holding you back. We're going to start with the one that can win you back the most energy, and we're going to finish with the one that will win you back so much time and focus it is untrue. So let's get cracking. So the first one is rest becomes a reward for hard work rather than rest being seen as a prerequisite, a requirement for performance, which it is. If you start treating rest as a reward, that you get to have a rest and recover when you've got to a certain point, you will never perform at your best. In fact, you will usually, in my experience, perform at your worst eventually, because it's burnout central when you start treating yourself like that. And how does it look? It looks like just pushing through all the time. It looks like, God, I'm absolutely exhausted here today, but I've got to get this done. If I keep trading time and hours, I'll end up producing something. And we don't. We've all been there. We've all had those days or weeks where we walked in and we felt absolutely fried. Maybe the kids ain't sleeping. Maybe work's been busy. Maybe you had a rough weekend, whatever it is. And then you've got to go and push through. Now, I'm not saying you should just not push through at any point. Of course, sometimes we have to push through. We have to get into stuff and just get them done. And we know that we're not performing at our best, but we got to dive in. However, if you make that your whole working philosophy, your whole life philosophy, then ultimately you are going to be burnt out and never perform at your best. That is the now and again version, the now and again mode. And so not the all the time mode. So how do you change it up? You've got to start seeing rest as an absolute staple in your calendar, in your week. And it's not disappearing for 3 months, to recharge your batteries. It's that Sunday switch off. It's that weekend with no phone. It's that making sure you get some good recovery in once or twice a week. It's protected, it's owned, and nothing gets in the way. Because ultimately, you can only perform to the level that you recover. The second myth is that this need to be available all the time. You've been there, right? You feel like you have to be available. Maybe to your team, maybe to your family, maybe to whoever it is where you're constantly on. So people are going into their work days thinking, I've got a lot to get done today, yet inbox is open on the screen, Slack, WhatsApp, people can just come and interrupt me whenever they want. And this constant need to be available keeps us stuck in shallow work. It keeps us stuck in reactive work. It keeps us always breaking our attention. And the more we switch hats throughout the chunks of time in our day, the more demanding that is for us energetically. And if we're switching from one thing to the other thing, and now we're having a meeting, and now we've got to try and deliver on a big project, and now we're just having a catch up, all in the space of 90 minutes, the mind gets exhausted. The second thing is, you may think, oh, well, I'm doing something, I'll just send that message, I'll get back to them. Or yes, I'll just answer the phone. But ultimately, your brain now leaves a lot of its attention in the thing it was just doing. It's called attention residue. And so as you switch tasks, part of your attention stays there. Now you imagine bouncing back and forth like that all day. All of a sudden your attention becomes so fragmented. And that's where a lot of mental exhaustion comes from. It's where a lot of that fatigue kicks in with people, because we are stuck switching tasks, always available to everybody else. The answer is we have to prioritize and we have to value ourselves and our work enough to get some deep, uninterrupted focus on what really matters. That doesn't have to be every day. What works well for people we work with is it can be 1 or 2 deep blocks throughout the week where it's like you are not available. And there may be some guilt there. There may be some fear around, maybe we like to micromanage. But that will become the most productive part of your week. It will also become usually the most enjoyable part of your week when you're not available for 90 minutes to 3 hours. You're just immersed in the thing that really matters in your profession, your business, whatever it may be. And so stop the belief that you always need to be available. Start to value your own time, and people will start to value your time as well. Create those boundaries, create those uninterrupted sections of focus, and you will end up producing a lot at the end of the week over just feeling busy. The third one is, hey, it lines nicely with the last one, which is just pushing harder. This belief that if I want to get better results, I have to push harder. I have to just grind my days out. It's all about grinding through, grinding through that afternoon lull, grinding through that section mid-morning where your head's not in the game. Even when it comes to our recovery, people will say, "Si, this is great, but can I do this 4 times this week?" Because we have this belief that more is better, that grinding more of the same stuff out will get me better results. When the truth is, better is better. And so I'm not one of those people who's like, if you don't feel it, don't do it. There's certainly times, like I've said in the last point, where if you have to push through, you do. But there's a much more skillful approach to that. And so rather than grinding things out when you're knackered and hitting that afternoon lull, it's time to step away. And that is what skilled high performers do. They don't work in 3-4 hour blocks of trying to focus on that task. That's not impossible for most people. They segment it up. And one of the best ratios you can do is 45 minutes of focus, 15 minutes out of the door. Not literally out the door, but 15 minutes of a little release break. Not on your phone, like wasting your time. Grab a walk, grab a drink, come back to your desk. It can be 50 minutes and then 10 minutes of just a little release break. But if you're stacking back-to-back meetings with no break, if you're jumping from work block to meeting with no break, you're going to exhaust yourself. And just pushing through that is where you become ineffective. You know you're not doing your best work, and you're trading that busyness for feeling productive again. And so what do you do instead of pushing through? Hit those ratios. And maybe at 50 minutes, you feel like you're on a roll. Brilliant, step away anyway, because when you come back, you cannot wait to get back into the task, which magnifies your focus even more. But if you're trying to push through all day and you're not getting in these little micro releases, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, little release, then you are missing a trick. Your brain is going to be fried, your nervous system is going to be fried, your energy is going to be depleted, and that pushing through may feel rewarding in a sense, but it's not productive. Switch to the micro breaks and watch how your productivity, your energy, and your focus will soar. And the last one, probably the most important, is I read a quote, was told a quote many years ago, which was, at some point in life, it becomes not what do I need to do, but who needs to do it. If you want to win back your time, energy, your focus, you've got to stop trying to solve everything yourself. And that can be in a business where we think only I can do this, or it can be actually in our health and well-being, where we're scrolling, trying to find out what's the amount of supplement we should take, what's the best way to approach my morning, and we're trying to piece it all together ourselves. When reality is, if you're a successful, driven person, then your brain needs to be spent, your time, your energy, your focus, on the things that are truly meaningful and help you build the results you want. Outsourcing your thinking is one of the most powerful things you can do. So if you're trying to solve every problem yourself, know that it costs you time, it costs you energy, and it costs you attention. And they are the 3 most valuable things you can have. Why spend them solving problems that you can outsource to somebody else? And so you don't have to solve everything yourself. And yes, you may be articulate, driven, clever. You may be used to solving all your problems. But it's a waste of time and energy to try and solve problems that somebody else can solve for you. And time, energy, and focus is the most valuable thing you have when it comes to creating the highest performing, most successful life you can think of. So now you have the 4. It's going to lead you to another few sets of problems. Maybe you need to protect your energy. Maybe you need to learn to channel your focus. There'll be some videos on here. Check them out. Follow them on. They come in a series. And what I will say is this. If at any point you think, wow, where am I stuck? The High Performance Mind quiz will be below this video. It will tell you, it takes 3 minutes. And it will tell you exactly where you're stuck, and it gives you some steps to take. Is it your focus? Is it your capacity? Is it your identity? We use it all the time. Pop below, fill it in 3 minutes, you can have a plan of action to move you forward.